everyone, Tony here from Successful Salons. Today I am super excited to share with you our featured expert inside Successful Salons Club this month. This month is all about blazing productivity without the burnout. So this month in the club, we're learning how you can have blazing productivity without the burnout that too often comes with striving to get more done. It's time to stop struggling, enhance your focus skills, get clear on your true priorities, honor your intentions, and enjoy more freedom. And our productivity queen this month is Heather Legge. So Heather guides business owners to achieve professionally, live joyfully, and build their unique positive legacy. Since 2006, she's been working with entrepreneurs as well as executives in firms including First National, Mass Mutual, Farmers Insurance, Salvation Army. She is the founder of Envision Success Inc., author of Lead with Moxie Body of Work, radical productivity expert, red wine lover, and recovering perfectionist and rebellious fear slayer. So welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Tony. It's great to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here. And although we have you doing this amazing collection in Successful Salons Club, I really think it's important for our Successful Salons community that everyone can take something away. And so I wanted to share really your expertise with them today. So let's just dive in and let's get to the hard questions straight away.
All right, bring it on.
So Heather, could you please share with us and the community your story and what led you doing to the work you do today?
Sure. I was thinking, you want the long version or the short version? I'll try to keep it short. So I guess I was 35 years old, had just finished my master's. I was in a corporate environment and I had that sort of, now what feeling that some of us get in our lives. You know, it's like, what's my next thing? What's my next career? And I just decided I wanted to be making a bigger difference in the world. I'm sure some of you can relate. And I didn't know coaching was a thing yet, but I was exploring some different careers, catching up on my social life after working a lot, traveling a lot, and taking 3 years to get my degree. And I had a handful of people to say, you should be a coach. I said, well, I don't even know what that means. I thought, oh gosh, does that mean I'm good at telling people what to do? That kind of freaked me out a little. I don't want to be bossy. But then I discovered it was a career. I went and got certified. I started my business 2006, and I never looked back because I love it. I love it. I love it. I love helping business leaders, business professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, strivers do more of what they really want to do. And I sort of, through my previous experience and then what I'm naturally good at and what people really needed, I sort of fell into, if you will, the core areas of focus, time management or productivity, leadership skills, and helping people really follow their purpose and build their legacy. So I have so much fun. And one of the big motivators, I'll share this with you, a little secret, in the beginning was I wanted to help women in the workplace stop sending mixed signals. Meaning, you know, we want to be taken seriously, but we don't necessarily take ourselves seriously sometimes, and we don't give off the right vibes or talk about ourselves confidently in certain circumstances. So that kind of started the whole thing.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. So what you probably bring me to my next question is that one of the things that you do is uncovering what is holding someone back from going after their goals and their desires. So could you share a couple of tips with our salon owners who are feeling like something is holding them back, however unsure what it is and where to start?
Yes. Well, deep stuff. First of all, know that you're not the only one. You know, as I mentioned, when I was 35, I started the business and I felt like, oh, everybody knows this stuff except me. Everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing except me. No, that's not it at all. So I can say, don't be too hard on yourself. It's part of the whole process of being human. And I don't know, I guess, you know, people say, all the time, starting with your why is so critical, and it is. So asking yourself why you're motivated to do things, why you're here on earth, those big questions can be really helpful. But there are a couple other things that I see happening a lot, especially as I'm working more with women owners. Although it's not only women, we just talk about it more freely than the men often. So there's one, a lack of focus, trying to do too many things, and then we feel like we're not making that progress, that sort of stuck feeling, stuck on the treadmill, not going anywhere, making all this effort. So take a look and see if you're trying to do too many things and you're not feeling super clear about what you really want in your life. It's time to take a step back and start asking yourself those questions. And the other thing is being afraid of not being good enough. And to me, it's I don't know, plague isn't the right word. It's an epidemic. There we go. Where, it's just part of the human experience, like I said, but we're constantly feeling like we're failing in lots of little ways, or we're disappointed, or we're disappointing other people. And so just stop. Stop worrying about making everybody else happy, and just take a good look inside yourself. I don't know. Yeah. Mindfulness practice helps a lot. Tony, you and I have talked about that. Just allowing your intuition to guide you, to listen to God and the universe. The answers are there. You just need to create a little space, and you'll know exactly what to do.
I think that's great, because I think when you talk about on the treadmill, it feels like sometimes, and I've been there, so I can say this, but if sometimes when you are so in your business and in your salon, you can feel like you're just going through the motions. You feel like your day is really busy, but are you actually productive? Are you actually moving your business forward, or are you just going through those motions? And also you can feel like, and like you said about worrying about what other people think, and it's, you're being driven by your fears rather than your dreams, and it's about overcoming those fears. And sometimes when you are busy and you've got so much to do, it allows you the space not to dive deep inside yourself to find out why you are on this treadmill, why you are going through those motions. Because people can be sometimes afraid of peeling back the onion, because once you start peeling back the onion, the layers start coming, and it can be a scary process. But however, that scary process can probably lead you out the other side, where you can go after your dreams and get off that treadmill and start really designing your life how you want it to be, not how other people think it should be.
Yes, well said. And it's so easy to just get stuck in that, go too busy, go, trying to keep up with everything. But just stop. Even if it's 20 minutes for yourself, and just breathe, and not just rushing to do things. Just start asking a few more questions about, does this feel right? Is this what I really want? Those kinds of things. That can be incredibly liberating. And it doesn't have to be, a painful process when you're peeling back the layers of the onion at all. It's very, very worth it.
Yeah, totally. So one of the things that you talk about in Successful Salons Club, and the blazing productivity without burning out, can you talk us through what exactly is productivity, and what it means for our salon owners, for the business owners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think each one of us probably would define productivity a little bit differently. It's one of those things where if you ask somebody to define attitude, it gets real, real complicated real fast. Similarly, productivity to me is a set of skills and behaviors and tools and habits that help you do more of what you really want to do, while expending less time and energy. So ultimately, you think about it, that's really what we all want. We want to feel like we're progressing towards something, and that it's something relevant or important to us. If you're listening, you're like, yeah, exactly. I don't want to be doing, all this other stuff that doesn't even matter. And expending energy and time on stuff that's not getting you anywhere, or it's not adding value for other people. So it's really taking a look at what things and when, and putting some discipline, habits, or patterns around it that help support you to be your best self. So you're healthy, happy, and productive all at the same time.
Perfect. Love it. At the end of the day, we all want our team members to be productive so that they are valued team members. And so we need to show them as business owners and salon owners that we are productive as well, and that we are doing things to move the business forward. So I love that. So also one of the other things which comes up quite a bit is that, and you talk about this in the collection in the club, is saying no without feeling guilty and not ruining relationships. Can you share some insights into this, and how do we recognize why we're saying yes and or saying no, and why saying no would be in our best interest?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are tuning in right now because if they were veering off a little, like, wait, say no, because this comes up all the time where I've been amazed. I'm no longer amazed, but I was so surprised for probably a good 10 years how many strong, independent, amazing, successful, talented people were saying, I need to learn to say no. Like, wait a minute, you're not? But they might have been saying no to the things that they really didn't need to be doing, but they weren't fully honoring themselves. And that's specifically what this, what we're talking about, this saying no. I've made this one of my signature concepts. And then one of the things that I talk with almost every single client, and I'm constantly doing Facebook Lives. And, here we are talking about it again, because it's so relevant, is how to honor yourself. So saying yes to yourself without upsetting people. It's just this priceless skill that will serve you in every area of life and business. So you can honor yourself without dishonoring other people. And it's just knowing, it's learning what you can and can't say, how people respond to you. But if you're not really sure if you should say yes or no to something, so let's take an example, because I feel like this may not be super clear for everyone. So any kind of request. So somebody asks you to do some extra work, or one of your team members needs extra help or has a bunch of questions that maybe they should already know the answer to, or somebody needs extra something from you, or you're honored with the opportunity to lead a volunteer organization or something like that. And your heart, you feel it in your body, your heart or your mind or something says, I really don't want to do that, but I feel like I have to. I feel like I should say yes. So, whoa, just pause. Don't automatically say yes. Give yourself the chance to reflect, even if it's a few seconds. You don't have to fill all the silence immediately, or buy yourself some time. Say, can I let you know tomorrow? Or can you come back to me in 2 hours? Or whatever you need. To me, that's just something that always seems so obvious to me, but I don't see that as a normal practice in our society at all.
No, and just when you're talking about that example, say if a team member was wanting some time because they needed some questions answered, or needed extra training or anything like that, by taking that, instead of automatically just saying yes, if they take that time to process it, they actually might see that actually they don't need to do that training. They've actually got another team member who is more than capable of training that team member, and they can get them to do it. So it's just about taking that time to look at the whole process and see what is going to be beneficial for that team member and for you. And this is about being productive as well, because as your time better spent training that person, or better spent moving that business forward and getting another team member to train that team member in that area. So it is so relative.
Yeah, it's a perfect example, because it comes up again and again. Or your kids, it's the same thing. Like you feel like you can't say no because in that moment they need help, and you feel responsible for helping them, for making things easy for them. But that doesn't mean that you have to drop everything and say yes in the moment. It just means asking more questions like, what really makes sense here? And so, like you said, that might be the perfect solution.
And just really tuning into your intuition, your inner knowing, anything like that, because your body will react in a way. You get an immediate sense of what is going to work for you or not. And so, you know, it's so important as business owners and as women that we honor that inner knowing and that intuition, and allow ourselves to say no and not feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So honor yourself. Start now.
So this probably brings me to another good point, Heather. You talk about in your introduction about being a recovering perfectionist. So can you share your story around this and some tips that can help our salon owners overcome the perfectionist syndrome? Because sometimes we just compare ourselves to others, or we think we can't put it out there because it's not perfect, or, you know, we can't put this promotion out because we haven't looked at it 100 times, or we haven't had 10 people, you know, or a team member says something negative about it. Like, there's so many things, like
you know all about this. I can tell. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. So if you suffer from some perfectionist tendencies, you're like, yeah, it's all the time. It's so constant. And it's just this concept of feeling like it could just be, you know, maybe one notch better. Oh, well, if I do this, it could just be a little bit better, or having these super high standards. So I'm going to share a little bit of a story with you. So a little bit of my story. My dad was a military, I was an Air Force brat. So my dad was a drill sergeant-y. And the way he grew up meant he was overly critical. So, I mean, it was just a double whammy of critical, perfection-inducing childhood. And, you know, he loved me. It wasn't about being mean or anything, but I really internalized that constant strive for something that I knew later I understood intellectually was not possible. I mean, perfection is not possible, but just pushing until I was working on my master's degree, you know, much later in life. And I was working probably 60 hours a week. I was traveling, and then I was doing classes. And at that time, the online university classes weren't completely normal yet, but I chose that because I could not imagine sitting in a classroom for, you know, 3 or 4 hours a night, several nights a week. Like, no way. Who has time for that? So I was really, you know, hard on myself. I was being disciplined. I was up till 2 a.m. doing homework and whatever, but I was suffering. I mean, my health was suffering. My household was suffering. Something had to go, right? Something had to give. I just could not possibly keep up with everything. So if you're listening and going, yeah, that's me with my business, then listen up, because there might be a lesson here for you. So I had this sort of realization that I could not possibly strive for perfection in all of these areas of life and business and school, household, marriage, you know, everything. So where did it matter less? Where could I relax my standards some? So it sounds so silly to those who don't have this issue, but I had this, as I call it, a come to Jesus meeting with myself, and accepted that I was gonna have to do B work, and my coursework was gonna have to be, you know, not A+ or A, or I don't know if everyone listening has the same grading, but down a notch or two. And I was just gonna have to be okay with it because nobody cared about my grades but me, right? It's masters, no one cares. So I dialed, excuse me, getting over a cold, dialed back the effort, what I thought was a lot. I mean, I really thought I was half-assing this stuff, and pulled back in a lot of areas. I quit folding the laundry. Just like, if it was clean, it was good enough. Like, this was hard. It was really hard for me to let go of these things. But let me tell you something. I became a much happier person. I just learning to let go of those things in a situation where I had to. I had to acknowledge that something had to go, and these were not important. These are not life and death things. So I want you to think about what it is, where your standards are higher than they need to be. And if it's just a matter of internal pride, then really take a good look. What's the cost? Because that's basically the process that I went through. And to my utter shock and pleasantly surprised, I was still getting A+ grades. I mean, here I had dialed things back to a degree where I thought, I'm probably barely passing, and I was still getting the highest marks. So I realized that the stories that I had been telling myself about what was expected were all in my head.
Mm.
Right? So I see this happening with a lot of women, some guys too, but ladies, this is something we really want to work on. And I'm not suggesting that we not expect a lot from other people, but just to pay attention to what matters and what really doesn't.
Mm. Perfect. I love it. And I just think that letting go is a great tip. Like, work out what is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know what your why is, you know what your intention is, what you have to achieve, but just figuring out what is important, what you can let go. Like, one of the, for example, and it's not so perfectionism, I suppose I feel like as the mum, the wife, I need to make sure tea's cooked and doing all these things and doing my work and everything can have everyone on board and everyone's happy and stuff. But one of the things is that cooking tea used to just annoy me, to think about what we were going to have. Did we have all the ingredients? Everything like that. So now we have a meal service deliver our meals for the week. Yes. With a recipe card, and we just cook it all. It comes out of a bag, we cook it all, and if I can't cook tea, then somebody else can pick it up and cook them. So it's just one of those things that I had to let go, and how is this going to make it easier for everybody, because I'm not stressed.
Yes. Oh, what a perfect example. And I mean, I will share just something that seems utterly embarrassing now, but I know some of you listening have the same issue. I used to refold the towels so that they would all line up perfectly. I mean, what the heck? Who has time for that? That is not important in the grand scheme of things. Now, I know when you're running a business, and I know everybody on here does have to worry about towels and how they're folded and the presentation in the business. But, if they fit on the shelf and they don't really look terrible, maybe it's time to just call it good. Right?
It's just one of those things, and it's just finding what's going to work and just learning to let go of some of that stuff. So I totally on board with that. So when it comes to being more productive in your business and life, and you start making changes to become more productive, sometimes it can feel like things crop up to really challenge us and think sometimes, is this worth it? Or is it something that we call self-sabotage? And can you share with our gorgeous salon owners exactly what self-sabotage is, and share a couple of tips with them that's going to help them recognize it and help them get through it?
Well, so these are tough questions.
I told you I'd hit you with the hard questions.
The tough questions. No, it's great. I love it. So self-sabotage can show up in a lot of different ways, right? So for each of us, it's going to manifest a little bit differently, but let me go through some scenarios and see if maybe some of these resonate with you. So you set some big goals for your business, or maybe a fitness. Okay. So you set a goal, you're going to lose 5 kilos or 10 pounds or whatever. And you get all gung ho. And then next thing you know, you're lounging, you're drinking extra wine. You've said yes to going out with the girls. You just totally blown it. And you're like, oh, well, you feel bad about it. So you try to get on board again, but it's like something inside, this inner rebel comes out and makes it harder. Right? Does this feel?
Oh, I used to be the queen of self-sabotage, so I'm hearing you.
So it's this, I don't know, that's how I refer to it, as sort of the inner rebel. Or maybe you sit down to work on a report or a proposal, or do some strategic business planning that requires some thinking, and you've been putting it off, and you've been putting it off, and you've been putting it off. You really want to do it because you know that what it gets you is in line with your dreams. You want what that effort is going to bring you, but when you go to do the work or do the activity consistently, that inner rebel just comes up and starts messing everything. It just gets all, complicated fast, right? So instead of beating yourself up, realize that this is part of the growth process. When we're getting out of the comfort zone, or what I call the familiarity zone, because usually it's not really that comfortable when you think about it. We don't like how we're behaving or how we're feeling about our behavior in certain circumstances. So I don't know, let's do maybe another leadership example. You want to be more available for your team, or you want to respond differently when they need your help, or you want to implement a new scheduling system. But every time you go to start these things, it just, oh, well, never mind, right? And then you feel bad about it. So it just builds and it compounds like this black cloud. Then it just gets more and more uncomfortable. It's just small steps count, and you're gonna backslide. You're gonna have some issues. Being nice to yourself is the key in those moments. And I mean, people used to say that to me all the time. Oh, be kind to yourself. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't even know what that means, but it takes practice. It does. So just don't think that everything is going to be that perfect trend line, up, up, up. There's ups and downs, like the stock market, right? There's ups and downs, but if the overall goal, the overall line is getting you to what you want, then that's all that really matters. That's the important part. How are the results? Are they better than they were 3 weeks ago? Great. You're doing it. You're winning. So I think there's a lot more that comes up in my sessions with clients. And there's this concept of worthiness that I talk through with people. And a lot of times we realize when we're going after something, we realize we're afraid of success. We're often, those of us that are business owners, we're more afraid of success than we are of failure, because we're afraid of who we're going to become. And that can absolutely cause some self-sabotaging behaviors. So ask yourself where it's coming from. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Try to be kind to yourself. Try to, look back and see how far you've come, instead of always looking forward and feeling like you're not making enough progress. So those are some quick things I can think of. It's a deeper issue, obviously.
Yeah, no, and I've seen a lot, and I've done it myself, so I can talk about it. But when things are going really, really well, like I'm a problem solver. I'm really good at solving problems and challenges that come up. So when things are going really, really well and there's not a problem, I used to in my past create a problem, which is causing me to self-sabotage, because things are going so amazingly well. There must be a problem. I need to fix something. So I would create a problem to fix it. And it's the same thing when you're going after a goal, feast and famine, and when it comes to financial. Like some people, when they've got so much money coming in and abundance coming in, and then all of a sudden it goes away because they're spending money, or it's a whole form of self-sabotage. And being able to recognize it so that you don't go into that whole feast and famine with your finances is another big thing. And there's lots of issues in there. But one of the things you did talk about was procrastination.
Yeah. That is a form of self-sabotage sometimes.
It totally is. It totally can be. So what are things that our salon owners can do to kick procrastination to the curb?
Well, this comes up in a lot of client sessions too, because even though, you are this amazing, talented, strong, capable, beautiful human being, there's just stuff. There's just challenges. There's stuff to be overcome. And some days you're just not going to feel like doing the work that you said you were going to do. If you notice it's a bit of a recurring issue, or a chronic issue, if you will, then you might be a procrastinator. And most people I talk to say, yeah, I have a procrastination issue. And often we say almost like it's an excuse, but it's maybe something else is, oh, I'm better under pressure anyway. Right? You've heard this? You said this?
Yes, I
Okay.
get it.
So technically it is true, because when we get stressed, our fight or flight system goes into effect, and it pumps adrenaline through us, and actually our eyesight gets better, our mental faculties are sharper, and our physical senses are stronger. But there's a
Yes.
cost, and that means that our adrenals, we can get burned out, we can get
Totally.
wiped out. We're wearing ourselves down
Hands
with this
up.
repeat behavior. So yes, it does work, but if it's a lot of the time, then it's something you want to fix. So here are two of my favorite ways to tackle the procrastination issue. So 1, set a timer for, let's say, 20 minutes. It can be any amount of time. If 5 is all you can do, 5 counts. But I say 20 minutes is a great default. Work on whatever it is. Total focus, go all in. This is like, the exercise class with the Tabata principle. If you don't know what this is, the Tabata Japanese guy came up with this training technique where you do all out effort for 20 seconds and then you recover for 10 seconds. So if you can do all out effort, total focus on that task that needs doing for 20 minutes and then see what happens, you will find that more than likely you're going to be in the zone at that time, or hey, at least you got 20 minutes done on it. But you got to really focus. So turn off your phone, take out the trash, get a drink of water, get all that stuff out of the way before you set the timer for 20 minutes, or if you're like me, use the bathroom because I'm constantly drinking water. Then just work on that for 20 minutes. The other thing is bribe yourself. Number 2, my second favorite way to get out of procrastination, or get past it, to beat it rather, is, bribe yourself. Or reward yourself might be better. So let me tell you a little story about a client I had. So she maybe hate's not the right word. She really disliked and procrastinated doing her employee reviews every time it rolled around. And I love her. We worked together for 7 years, and to see how far she came in that period of time with the employee reviews was amazing. So partly what it took for her is she would reward herself with facials when she got a certain number of them done. So I was like, she really wanted to do the facial. She didn't let herself have it. She would book it, but she wouldn't let herself have it if she hadn't done the employee reviews. So find some kind of reward for yourself and bribe yourself to do the work. That helps.
I love it. Love it. You've shared so many wonderful tips and tricks with us, and with the Successful Salons community, and how to be more productive. And anyone that wants to get hold of Heather's Blazing Through Productivity Without the Burnout, you can jump into Successful Salons Club, and we have it in there as well. But Heather, how can people get hold of you or get in touch with you?
Well, you can search for Heather Legge, Legge, online, and I'm sure you'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, any social media platform you can imagine. The main website is envisionsuccessinc.com. So that's an easy place to start.
Perfect. I will put all your links down below anyway, so people can get in touch with you. So, do you have a special offer for our Successful Salons community?
Absolutely. Of course I do. So on that same website, envisionsuccessinc.com/successful salons, you'll find some exclusive offers for your community. So I'm really excited. I'll give you a little teaser. So there's something that I've been working on for a while. It's called Focus and Flow. Find your freedom through the power of productivity. So if you like some of these tips that we've been talking about, it's a lot more. There's more solutions and some very specific things. There's a template for weekly planning that I love. Changed my life, changed my clients' lives. I love it. So there'll be an exclusive offer for you on that page for that. And I've got a freebie for how to stop saying you're busy. So I'll throw some extra goodies for you guys on that page.
Perfect. I love it. And thank you. So for everyone in the Successful Salons community, I encourage you to go and visit Heather's website and go and download and take advantage of all those goodies that she has. Heather, thank you very, very much for sharing all your wonderful expertise with us today. I'm sure that I've got lots out of it, so I'm sure the Successful Salons community has as well. So thank you very, very much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. Go forth and be productive and happy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.